Hello and welcome to Destiny Digits. This is the life path number 11 reading. Alright, 11. So your life path number is found through your birthday, right? That reveals your life path. And this number tells you about the opportunity that you have in this life. So 11 gives you an energy. It gives you a costume to wear, and that costume presents you with an opportunity to walk in. Okay? And so this reading is almost like a temp check. We're trying to see where we are in our path to purpose at this moment. So let's talk about the energies of an 11. 11s, you guys are the lights in the world. This is a master number, which means that you are here, not just, you will have an audience. You will have an intentional audience because you have an intentional lesson to teach. So master numbers carry a different type of energy because they have to disperse a lesson to the masses. And so 11s, you have vision. You have master vision. You can just see. Okay? You're very understanding, very sensitive. You are every bit of a 2. 1 plus 1 is 2. So when reduced, you have the energies of 2, positive and negative, but being an 11, it just says that you are here to be an inspiration. You are here to awaken people, to turn on light switches. You're very intuitive. You're considerate. You're a dreamer. But you are literally here to be a light in the world. So people are watching you, but you're also here to turn on people's switches just by their ability to engage with you. All right. So let's get it, 11s. Here we go. So first base is going to talk about where we are. So first card that comes out for where we are is self-love. Okay? So on your path to your purpose, we are learning that self-love is the space we're standing in. If this is not something that you are consciously aware of, this is something that you should be made aware of, that this is the current theme for all energy surrounding you right now. It says, let the wall fall that separates me from my own vulnerable inner child. I long to take care of myself like never before. Alright, so on this card we have clearly an adult and a child. And so when we're talking about self-love, the first time we understood that we were us is in the first relationship we had. So who was the first relationship or relationships that you've had? Not necessarily parents, because not all of us are in the company of our parents, but life in that womb still counts. So when we're talking about our first relationships, it's typically going to be mom, dad, whoever our caretaker is or isn't, right? Because that neglect and abandonment matters too. But nonetheless, there was a relationship that was significant when you were a child, and it taught you why you were not lovable, right? And so this is what trauma does to you. It's teaching you. Trauma is a great teacher, but sometimes it can teach you what you are not. It can teach you a lie, all based on how another is treating you and how you're perceiving that. And so if you were to go back to your childhood, there's a part of you as a little girl or as a little boy or as however you identify, you have put yourself in a prison to keep yourself safe. Why? Because something as a child felt very unsafe. And so as this adult, you still have yourself in this cage. But the only way to get out of that cage is to realize that you are worth stepping out of it. Right? So you have to unbelieve all the things that were told to you, all the things that were done to you in secrecy or in public. Right? This is about facing those adults that made you think that you didn't deserve to be loved, and because they did things and said things and treated you in ways that made you feel like you did not deserve love. As you grow, you're still a child. You just got taller and stronger and smarter and sexier, but you're still that child with those same beliefs. And so if we are not careful, if we are not conscious of healing, we are becoming our abuser, even as an adult, we're still playing that pattern because we're giving ourselves the same experience that we received or didn't receive as a child. Beneath self-love, we have the Three of Swords, and so this is literally heartbreak. So as a small child, you were groomed in heartbreak that really blocked your ability to love who you were. And so this is about you getting to a place of surrender where you want nothing more but to give yourself a beautiful life and a beautiful opportunity. And it is hard to do because we have to revisit the place where it was first stolen, right? We have to go back there and we have to crumble that wall that we put up to protect ourselves while we were enduring whatever we were enduring. And once we almost go and capture us, right? Save us. We almost have to go rescue who we were when we were first learning self, in order to heal and to convince ourselves of our true value, of our true worth, right? And in this moment, you want that like nothing else. Beneath the Three of Swords, it says, my faith has the power to turn trauma into healing, conflict into growth, and fear into love. Wow. And so this definitely is a card of recovery, but you in this moment are your own doctor. This is about you being your own heart surgeon, right? And although you didn't give yourself this burden, you will definitely be responsible for releasing yourself from it. And that is the space you're standing in right now. So what is your task? All right? We're standing in a space of self-love. The job for me to do as I stand here, card number 2, says outrageous openness. Dear love, open me to your will. Release me from my attachments. Surprise and delight me with your plan. You know what's needed and I am open to receive. And so your job right now is to have a love affair with love. To fall in love with love again. To learn love from a healthy outlet, from a healthy relationship, and that's the relationship with self. And so you have to almost break down all of the falsities that those people convinced you was you through their own trauma and fear and neglect and abuse and abandonment. That's what we're breaking down. And now you get to be your own parent. You get to be your own caretaker. You get to be your own guardian. And the way that you have to introduce yourself to love as an adult looks like being vulnerable. It looks like detaching from all of the things you thought were love, all of the things you thought fulfilled you. It looks like totally emptying yourself out in all your beliefs and preconceived notions so that you can be filled up. You can be filled up with the truth of love. You want to be surprised and delighted with the plans that love has for you. And you have to make space for those surprises. Right? You literally have to say to love, to God, to universe, to ancestors, to spirit, you know what's needed and I'm open to receive. Right? Now listen, when you say that, you know what's needed, I am open to receive. That means what comes next is fair game, right? And the fact that the Five of Swords is under that outrageous openness means that sometimes what you need may look like loss. It may look like defeat, right? It may look like a never, and this is the Five of Swords, so we haven't made it to the 10. So it may look like a journey of ups and downs, conflict, struggles. Swords talk about mental conflict. So there's a part of us that we don't have peace, right? And so this is about restructuring the mind through all these perceived losses. These losses are detachments, or you should be detaching through things, your will, your ego, all these things that you have sunken your claws into because you thought that they were love, you thought that that was it. You're learning that's not it. Now I need to take my energy out, and that looks like a lot of things collapsing, possibly. Beneath the Five of Swords, it says, my happiness is a direct reflection of my level and faith in the universe. So listen, if you are in the energy of this Five of Swords, or if this is the energy that is surrounding you as you are learning to teach yourself love again, right? as you go through this, if you are in this energy of feeling defeated, challenged, what can you do? This is where we learn faith. So we couldn't have faith in the people taking care of us. No, they traumatize us. But who do we learn to have faith in when we're an adult and we're trying to reparent ourselves from a healthy space? The universe, God, spirit guides, ancestors, whatever that thing is for you on the other side. And I'm not too familiar with like all the different ways to believe, but most humans have lost someone. If you've ever lost someone you love, then maybe that's who you can have faith in. Maybe you can have faith that they are working on your behalf to give you the best human experience that you can have for the remainder of your natural life, right? And so even when things seem like defeats, happiness can be found in our faith for the bigger order, for the bigger plan, right? And so that is your job, to find faith in the loss and to still be open to the love and to the plan that is being revealed to you for your life. So what is difficult here? What is difficult? Well, space number 3 says extraordinary. There's a wild and impetuous uniqueness to you that deserves to be honored. And so there's this beautiful peacock on this card, right? And it's regal and royal. It's purple. There's blue. So it's important that you understand. Blue makes me think about communication and throat chakras. So there is something unique about this peacock, but this peacock has to know why it's extraordinary, or it's not, right? You have to accept and embrace it. But if you look at the feet beneath the peacock, it's standing on total darkness. And I almost feel like in order for you to really stretch and to see what your feathers are made of, you have to elevate. You have to come through the dark stuff that didn't allow you to know how truly special you were. And so that dark stuff would be working through all the trauma, all the things that poured fear into you. Anything that took your power away, anything that caused you conflict at any point in life, right? Because even if it first happened in childhood, you could probably find the pattern, throughout other experiences in life. And it doesn't have to be in love. It can be in any relationship that we have had. That's with coworkers, that's with, people checking out our groceries. Just how are we as people? What are we acting out? So nonetheless, the fact is that it's difficult for you to understand how truly unique you are, right? And if you don't know how unique you are, then you're not going to honor it. You're instead going to be honoring all the dark things that you believed were true about you, and that's the life that you're going to be living and seeing. But how unfortunate is that life is really a reflection of what people told you were, not what you truly are. And so beneath the extraordinary peacock is the moon, which literally talks about things hidden, things unknown, things lying dormant in our subconscious, not yet revealed to us, right? And so there's work to be done, and this is why this is difficult, because it's not necessarily comfortable. Beneath the moon, it says the presence of love will always cast out fear. And so there are parts of us that are unknown because we're afraid to know them, because when we go back to the places where we should have first met them, we see those people who convinced us of other things about who we were based on what they did to us, right? And so this is about going into the depths of us to recover the gold, right? And listen, when this peacock goes in and comes back out, look at the feathers. Look at how it can expand itself, right? And so that's the place we're in. Every space within yourself, within your life, where you are living out of fear, this is where we bring love to it, right? So this is the light and the darkness, right? This is the light in the darkness. This is really standing in the discomfort in order to one day make comfort with what has been and what was. Now, what is your strength? What can help you here? Well, fourth card, we have grounded. It says many of the most evolved beings on earth are regular folks, living with joy, dignity, and courage. And so what helps you is the fact that you don't need a lot. You're simple, but simple isn't simple. Simple is actually complex. To live a full life with less is not easy, right? There's a level of value and worth and understanding that you have to possess to know that worth comes through nothing that you can touch, right? It's internal. My value's within. And so it seems like a simple mindset, but To live that way in a world that is always convincing and selling you more is quite hard to do. But your advantage is that you've mastered that. You are very grounded, right? There is this kind of stable thread that always keeps you centered no matter what happens around you. There's a level of understanding you have about life and self, right? Just basic core values. Beneath the grounded, we have the Nine of Wands. This is the wounded warrior. This is the one who's like, listen, I don't know how much I got left in me. But 10 is the end of the journey, and 9 says you're just one wand away. Don't give up. It has been hard. It has been a struggle. It seems like you fought a lot. It seems like you're carrying a lot, but the wands behind you are almost like trophies, right? Those are things that you have collected as a result of a battle, as effort put forth, right? You invested self, and you came out with another wand, and you continued on this journey. So you're one wand away, and every wand is a representation of an experience that you needed. So keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. And when you're afraid, when things are a little uneasy, rely on the simple things: your courage, your dignity, and the basic necessities in this world that give you joy. Beneath the Nine of Wands, it says, I always trust the direction of the universe and know I'm being guided. So listen, when we're in these moments that make us feel like, should I quit? I don't know if I can handle this. That's where we, again, learn to trust the universe. So trust is hard when we don't understand where we're going or what we're going through. But the universe is our parent, right? And so that's why we have to fix all these old relationships with our first initial caretakers, right? Because when we didn't trust them to provide and to really take care of us in the proper way without trauma, then as we get older, we don't know that we are supposed to almost hand over that to God, to spirit, to ancestors, to whatever that is for us, right? So that we can make it through our adult life. And so this is almost like taking a few steps back to childhood to set the record straight, so then you can take the leaps required in adulthood. And you know that you're being guided, right? Yeah. All right. So goal. What is the goal here? Card 5, it says grief. Can you imagine grief is the goal? It says tears are what happen when the ice in the heart melts. Listen, listen, listen. So the goal here is to release. The goal here is to purge. The goal here is to let your heart be a heart and not a prison, right? The thing is that our life can't really unfold the way it naturally should, because the heart is the navigation system. But if it's locked up in ice, and if it's frozen and hard and dark and afraid and not trusting and unwilling, then our life, then what is navigating our life, right? And so the current space you're in, this is the goal. Underneath the grief card is the Four of Wands, which is the home, the family, the stability, the relationship. You want stability, you want security and love and relationships, and you want probably what may not have come easy for you to have as a child, which is where the initial trauma began. And so what I'm saying is that the stability is here, but you almost have to succumb to the brokenness of what you felt in your first home, in your first experience, when you were first understanding who you were and you were first learning to walk in this life. It's almost like going back to rescue that person and say, hey, come live with, now I'm an adult and I'm going to take care of you now. This is you talking to your inner child. Like, I've got us now. We've been through a lot, and listen, it's okay. It's okay to feel it. It's okay to accept it. It's okay to embrace it. It's okay to grieve. That was very hard, and you survived. And the fact that you're here and breathing means that you were supposed to, right? And so everything you desire, everything you should have had, is yours, but you have to learn to love yourself first so that your heart can navigate you to it, right? And so in this moment, the way to love yourself may be by crying. That's it. But that can be scary if it's not something you're comfortable doing, because every tear represents an offense, right? Most times from a person that you most trust in. Beneath the Four of Wands, it says, when I lean toward love, I am led. Right? So all you have to do is lean toward, you don't have to know where you're going, but we just have to lean toward love and not fear. So fear tells us to stay the same, to not trust, to not go, to not change, to not release that habit, to not release that addiction, because we need it. We need it. All of our behaviors we have, we need them because they make us us. But at some point you'll have to tell yourself the truth about who you are, and you'll realize that none of that is fulfilling, right? And guess what? When you remove all of those things for taking up space, all of a sudden you realize how extraordinary you truly are and what you're really here to do. So let's talk about the cards that surfaced at the bottom of the decks. So at the very top, we have Limitless. For our first deck that was at the bottom, it says, see yourself, open to receive in the most miraculous ways. The divine can use anything and anyone. Listen, when we're talking about transformation, everything is fair game. You never know what seed is going to be the seed. You never know where that seed is going to come from, where it's going to come, how fast it's going to grow. We don't know. So we have to be willing and open. You know, we have to walk through life with our hands open, looking for the seed. No, we're not looking for the full plant, because that's not how this thing works. We're just looking for the seeds, and then we need to engage, nurture, and groom it in order for it to become a plant. So walk through life, hands open, heart open, mind open, soul open, looking for seeds, expecting seeds. Beneath Limitless at the bottom of the tarot deck, it's the King of Swords. So this is somebody that's very logical and practical. Somebody that is emotionally reserved because they prioritize their mental space at times. Maybe they're considered a little harsh or cold or distant or just emotionally unavailable. But this is also somebody that, because they're not overly invested emotionally, they can be very fair. And they can choose and decide from an objective way, you know? Somebody that's relaxed and calm in nature. And so this is the type of mind we want. We want to have peace in our mind, but it requires a little decluttering to do from past hurts, right? And once we declutter and cut out the things of the past and the pain, the gold nuggets of us start to surface. At the bottom of the third deck, it says, I recognize that I have chosen fear, and I choose again. I choose love. Straight transformation. Like choosing a different seed. When you choose love as your seed, then when you choose love as your seed, then everything in your life looks lush and beautiful and vibrant. But when we choose fear, it can seem dark and cold and lonely, and it can seem scattered because you can't trust anybody, not even self, And so 11s, we talked in the very beginning about the natural characteristics that you have, and we talked about you being a light in the world. But I think in this moment, in this space that you're in, I think you're learning how to be your own light first, before you then can honestly go out and give your testimony about how you had to turn on your own light before you then could turn on someone else's, right? So in many ways, it's easy to see all the ways that we can help people find their own way. But sometimes it's so easy because we're not really applying it to our own story. So this is the moment where I think all the advice that you would have given is actually being directed to self. And that's not a bad thing. It's really to see, in order to go as far as you have to go, we have to go back and pick up any of the pieces of us that are still scattered or broken. We need all of us. You need all parts of you, all pieces. And so trauma and fear tend to keep aspects of our soul that we really need. And so 11s, you're going back, you're collecting, you're rebuilding, and then you're taking off. You're literally making a different choice. You're being your own parent. You're loving yourself in a different way. The extra card that came out to the far left is flow. There are dolphins on this card. It says, allow me, divine, to move with the flow and respond with calmness and peace. Allow me, divine, to move with the flow and respond this. So when you think about a dolphin swimming, that is how you are asking God to help you move in this world. You just want to move with ease. You just want to move with calmness. You just want to be at peace. You just want to be in the flow. No more resistance, right? And so sometimes the divine has to almost cause us to stumble, cause us to trip, cause us to fall, so that we get so tired of not being in the flow with our true identity or with our true authenticity. And then finally we're like, oh, just help me. I'm tired of falling. My knees are scraped. Like, you know what I mean? I'm out of Band-Aids. My elbows are bruised. This is a mess. And then it's like, whoa. When we stop, reflect, when we tweak those things within, and we realize that we get to reparent ourselves. And guess what? On the other side of the realm is our true parent, the creator. So guess what? We have access to that, and that's where our guidance comes from. But it does take trust and acknowledgement and awareness of self. And so it's time to be in the flow, so that you can exist and ascend in the way that is so natural to the gifts that you carry. All right, 11s, thank you so much for being here. All is well, and keep turning on those lights. Thank you. Take care.